Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Bear Experiment Podcast. I'm your host, Monica Clavijo. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm here with my very, very, very dearest friend, Manny Elgaresta.
Yeah, dear friend. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Go ahead.
Elgaresta?
Yeah, that's very good. Yeah.
Say it.
Elgaresta.
I just said it.
I know you did.
Why are you looking at me like I have five heads?
Because you weren't sure. You weren't sure.
No, I was trying to make fun of you.
You were not 100% sure of your very good friend that you've known for 20 years. Anyway, go right ahead.
So he went ahead of me there. So Manny and I have worked together in the broadcast television and radio industry for over 20 years. Yes, he's very old. We've remained tremendous friends. His wife is an amazing woman. She worked with us back in Univision, back in the olden days.
Back in the olden days when
television was fun.
When television was fun.
When television was good. Like really, really, really good, right? It was good times. It was really good times. So I started in the business right out of high school, basically. I was in college, and I was offered a really great opportunity through a friend that I met at an Indonesian furniture store.
Indonesian furniture?
Yeah, Danny Vaisman.
You have to
You
explain
remember
that.
Danny Vaisman?
I do. He's a nice guy.
Great guy. Literally, I was invited by a bunch of Venezuelan girlfriends.
How do you work at an Indonesian furniture store in
Miami?
Miami?
He was networking, which is the same thing I was doing.
Okay.
So I'm invited to go to this Indonesian warming party that they're doing for their grand opening. And it was somewhere like on US 1 and all those warehouses there. But it was kind of like, what was this, 2000, right? This was around 2000, maybe 1999.
I don't know. I wasn't there.
No, I'm telling you.
Okay.
It was like when Indonesian furniture was really cool to have, I guess. I don't know. It was like a big deal. It was a really big deal.
Yeah,
it was, very high end. I didn't mingle in those circles, so I was kind of like, oh shit, this is gonna be kind of cool to go to. Anyway, so that's where I meet Danny Vaisman, and we ended up becoming really good friends. And he was friends with Bubba Cohen.
And who is Bubba Cohen?
Bubba Cohen was the local sales manager over at USA Broadcasting. Whammy, remember that one? Channel 69.
Whammy 69?
Yeah.
No way. It was that Barry Diller?
Barry Dillard's Whammy 69 over on Lincoln Road on the beach.
He just happened to buy something on North Bay Road like a couple of weeks ago.
Oh yeah,
he paid $69
like
million.
A Comanche.
No, he bought a piece of land for like I'm hearing something like $49 million, $69 million. I don't know.
He's following Bill Gates' footsteps there.
No, yeah, kind of. Well, not Bill Gates. What's the other guy?
Bezos.
He's Bezos. The other Cuban sort of situation. Bezos is a Cuban.
Well, not really.
Not really.
But
his parents are Cuban.
His father. What was it? No, his stepfather is Cuban.
His stepfather and stepmother.
No.
His adoptive parents are Cuban.
Oh, that's not his real mother?
I don't think so.
Yeah, that's his mother. She remarried a Cuban man who adopted him.
Okay.
So he's Bezos by adoption from his stepfather.
So we can do the thing with Frank Sinatra, Guano.
100%.
Right? Arnold Schwarzenegger, Guano.
100%.
Jeff Bezos?
Guano?
50%.
No, I'm going to go with 100.
It's 100%.
No.
100%.
He was raised in Miami. He's Cuban.
Whatever, Kendall.
No, it was the Hood. No?
No, Kendall.
No, he was not raised in Kendall. He's like Miami High.
Hey, listen, Jeff, if you're listening to this.
Correct us.
Call us up. Get a, you're in Indian Creek. It's close. Just come over to Miami Beach and say hi.
All right, so let's get down to the nitty gritty. So now that we know that we live amongst all these billionaires and we're not one of them.
No.
So we start in the broadcast television industry in the heyday when it was really fun. When it was like saying, I remember walking into sales calls where you were, or just speaking to different people that you would meet and you would tell them I work for a broadcast television station. I worked for Univision. I worked for Telemundo, whatever, you know?
And it was a thing.
And it was a thing. It was like, I'm a doctor. I'm a freaking heart surgeon. You know, it was a thing. You were respected. You were banking. You were making a shitload of money, right?
And that's why, because everybody knew you're making a shitload of money.
And even like in college, going to college, when I was going to college, like broadcast television was that, you know, you were getting pushed into that.
It was the industry where you could,
and they would always tell you, like, this is where you're going to make some money. Go into the sales side of it. Well, and this is how you bank, right?
That's what you were told. What I always wanted to do was I always wanted to be a producer. I wanted to be a creative. And I was told that the only way I could do that and make money was in television.
Okay. And realistically, how many people that study production actually end up making money? I mean, unless you get like a hit TV show or very, very few. Exactly. I think that you had a better possibility of getting into sales.
Oh, absolutely.
And making money that way, even if you were mediocre as a salesperson. It was just a given because there was what? For Hispanic television, it was Univision, Telemundo.
And that's it. It was nothing else.
They got to buy you.
Yep.
You want to hit the Hispanic population, they got to buy you.
And Miami was the Hollywood of Spanish language television.
Like we're on its own here.
Which is funny because considering 80% of the viewers were Mexican, and the place where basically 80% of the executives were Cubans.
Right, the revenue was coming out of
it was coming out of here. Yeah.
I mean, now I'm jumping all over the place. The one that got murdered.
Who got
Menendez? The Menendez brothers. Wasn't the father like a big television executive, or was it a music executive?
I think he was a music executive. I don't know. That's curious.
He was definitely in the biz.
He was in the biz, and he was very wealthy.
And he was very wealthy, and he lived in LA, right?
So he must have been Mexican, right?
Cuban. They're Cuban. What are you talking? We're talking about the rich ones are all Cuban. Shut up. Look at Sorrel right now, that he's just buying everything out, and that's going to be interesting.
Who's this?
Jorge Sorrel.
Oh, what's he doing?
Well, he's tapping into every television station right now that's hurting, and he's just buying them out. You know,
really?
So you have to ask yourself: is he trying to do a Fox move, where he's trying to control the media 100%?
And
with his messaging, and
what's his messaging right now?
He's very to the left.
Is it to the left?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there with him. But he basically did that with Univision, and he's doing that with a lot of other companies right now. Is it from a revenue standpoint right now, where he's trying to make money, or is he really long term trying to look at to see how he can control messaging, right?
Well, yeah, that's where
and the direction of politics.
Right. That's where we talk about where. These two small networks now have control over pretty much what is the richest Hispanic Spanish language country in the world. Right. Which anybody, if you haven't realized, the United States is the richest Spanish language speaking country in the world.
Isn't that crazy?
It is.
Isn't that crazy? Like, you need to learn how to speak English. Because Spanish is your dominant language right now.
Well, that's in a South Florida situation.
No, but it is funny, right? Like, it's kind of like, I speak Spanish. What do you speak? Well, you speak the wrong language if you're speaking English here, you know?
Yeah, well, I mean, outside of Hialeah, I guess.
Hialeah. This would not be anything if Hialeah did not exist.
No, that's right.
Hialeah is the founding fathers and foundation of everything that's exploded in Miami.
Yeah. Most of the people who were that lived in Hialeah at one point or another. I mean, I'm American from New York, but whatever. I'm a gringo.
You poor thing.
Oh yeah, I always
how I like you. I don't even know.
Right. I mean, I always tell everybody when they ask me, well, where are you from? I was like, well, I'm a gringo with a Cuban accent.
That's right.
Pretty much,
So, broadcast television. So we're talking now. You started in the business. We were speaking a little earlier. 1987.
Yeah.
Is when you kind of dive in. This is where you meet your wife. Right? Did you meet her right away?
About 6 months after I started working there, she started working there. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And but the important thing was I've always wanted to work in television, and my mother, she used to work for the chairman of Warner Communications back in the 80s, who was a gentleman named Steve Ross.
I remember.
Yeah, not the Steve Ross that owns the Dolphins. Different Steve Ross.
Oh, that's the one I was talking about.
I know, yeah. It's a different Steve Ross. Steve Ross passed away about 40 years ago now, maybe 50 years ago now. Who knows? Maybe I think it's more like 40 years ago. And he told me when I was, I told him, hey, I want to work in television. I want to be creative. He's like, well, study accounting is what he said to me. And I said, why? I said, because it's not show business, it's business show.
That's right. Show me the money, right?
Show me the money. It's all about the money.
Follow the money.
So he's like, if you want to work in television, because I was specific about television, because movies, radio, Broadway, all those things are very different.
Manny, how did you not get into that portion of the business? You're so talented.
Which portion of the business?
Like movies.
Movies?
Yeah, like Hollywood.
Well, I mean,
like the real shit, right?
I don't know. I mean, you hear what's happening now with movies, and
well, yeah, but that wasn't back. But we're
it was more so back.
What are we talking about? What part are we talking about now?
We're talking. You're 16 years old. You're in good shape.
You want to be in the movie?
You want to be in the movies? I didn't. I know that was my first exposure to that was something similar to that. I did not want to do that. So
they wanted to get you naked?
Pretty much, yeah.
No, are you joking? I'm being funny.
No, I'm not joking.
Really?
No. Mm-hmm.
No.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It went both ways.
Oh, there you go. Happened to you too?
No, like it went both ways. Like they were doing that to the men also, not just to the women.
Absolutely. They were doing it to the boys.
We're getting into that.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Pedophilia was a thing.
It's still a thing. Apparently.
It's still a thing.
Apparently.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hearing.
That's so sad. So sad. That's it's sickening. It really is. Mm-hmm. So now that we know that happened to you, that explains a lot. Why you didn't do it.
Well,
that can scare anybody. That really can.
Of course, I was like, no. But hey, I was like, shoot, if I had only wanted to do that, I would have been successful.
You would have been so rich.
I would have been so rich.
Listen, we shouldn't be making light of that, Manny.
No, we should not.
There's a lot of ugly shit going on with that right now.
Is. Especially with the, what is it, Nickelodeon or whatever?
Horrible.
What's happening right now?
It's like every other one that's coming out, you know? But then, you got to question, we go back to everything else. At that point, you have to, where the hell are the parents of those children that are allowing them, because it's like the money starts coming in and it's like, okay, I got a money machine right now, that's paying all the bills. Do what you got to do. No, you got to keep an eye on them. They're young kids. They're,
You do. But at the same time, I think, if it doesn't matter how much your kid is bringing in, the moment you find out that might be happening, maybe you should, do something about it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Maybe you should do something about it. Because, it's because otherwise you're a piece of garbage.
Horrible. Horrible. Yeah, but a lot of parents would look, and it is sad to say, but a lot of parents would probably look the other way or say that it really wasn't happening to their child just because of the amount of money that was coming in and the lifestyle that it was sustaining them at that time.
At the same time, it's very easy for us to say that now, 30 years later, where we know that maybe, back in the 1980s and 1990s, that kind of thing was like, you'd say, oh, hey, he's not doing that.
It wasn't as pronounced as it is today.
Yeah. It was, and you could,
or maybe are comfortable to talk about also, right? Because that's kind of like,
if it's your kid, nothing is not uncomfortable to talk about. But
but it's still kind of like that thing. Like, no, that didn't really happen.
It couldn't be happening,
right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's more of an uncomfortable topic. Right. Now people are just, everybody's just touching everybody, right? And
well, I mean,
it's the truth.
You shouldn't really touch anybody unless they ask you to touch them.
So broadcast TV.
Mm-hmm. Broadcast TV.
How much money were some of these reps back in the day making, to put things into perspective?
Oh, it was ridiculous.
Like over 4.
It was like a huge just pipeline of money coming in.
Yeah. And then it was what you were considered to be an order taker, right? Because you were guaranteed the money because there was only 2 stations to go to. So you're not really, you don't have a lot of competition out there. There was no digital advertising. There was no streaming. There was no computers. There was no.
Right. I mean, and to be like very blunt about it, when I first got hired as a junior 21-year-old or 22-year-old, I don't remember exactly, cameraman who had been working for 6 months for free, right, in the business, they said to me, well, the best we can do for you right now is $45,000 a year.
Yeah.
In 1980.
Starting off.
To start off.
Yeah. I remembered. That's how I started over at Whammy.
It's an insane amount of money.
My God.
Think about what $45,000 today is. Yeah. Maybe 70,
But that was the same thing for me. Starting in the business, I was working probably as a receptionist somewhere. Yeah. And they were like, the only thing that we can pay you is the $60,000 salary plus commission. I'm sorry.
You're like, what?
I remember I was just like, okay, let me think about it. I went home and I told my father he was like, quit everything, drop out of school.
Immediately do this.
Yeah. You don't say no to this kind of money.
Right.
And especially for my family, this was a lot of money for us. You know?
To think that today, 30, 35, almost 35 years later, easy. A starting salary for an editor who has a lot more experience and schooling and dedication is $45,000.
And the cost of living, everything, inflation.
That's crazy bananas. That's
why everybody's
going
crazy right now.
It's like, well, why can't we find people to work in the broadcast? Well, because rent is $3,000 a month.
What? Cheaper? More expensive?
Well, I mean, for like a single guy, whatever.
I don't know.
$3,000 a month
in the hood.
Yeah.
Rent is out of control right now. I have a cousin that she just rented a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom condo on Coral Way, and she's paying $3,600 a month right now.
That's insane.
I think so. I mean, it's pretty. It's nice. It's got a lot of amenities.
No, it wouldn't be insane if the salaries in South Florida
would match that lifestyle.
Yeah. Because let me tell you, when they told me $45,000 a year, at that point, if I was alone, if I didn't live, because at the time I was living with my parents, but if I wasn't living with my parents, I was 22 years old. Yeah. I didn't have any expenses. I could have probably found an efficiency for $700.
Yeah.
So if I could find an efficiency for $700, I'm making $45.
You remember that? Do you remember when efficiencies were like $400 a month?
Yeah, right. And you
had a house. You had like an apartment.
And I'm saying $700 if I want to live in Miami Beach.
Yeah.
Right? But if I want to live in Hialeah,
you had an apartment.
Yeah.
It was like, it was separated. Yeah. I remember that I had an efficiency. I rented an efficiency my one and only time after leaving my parents' house in Westchester. And I lived there for 6 months before I actually was able to buy a little apartment. But anyway, at least I bought something.
With that efficiency, it was haunted.
Yeah, you remember.
Yes, I do. Civil War.
Manny.
Civil War soldier.
You're so smart, Manny.
No,
like,
I'm not
how do you
smart.
remember this?
It's just I have a memory. I'm not smart. Right?
No, Manny, that was freaky.
You told me that there was a Civil War soldier.
It's a real story. So, should I share the story?
Sure. I mean,
okay, so I'm renting this efficiency in Westchester, and I was going home. And I remember that I had a facial, and I just went to the house so that I can get comfortable. I was leaving the office. I was leaving one of the stations so clearly you heard about it. So it was one of the stations that we were working at together at the time. And I couldn't get in the door, right? So I'm opening with the key to the point that I got a blister on my finger because I was there for a good 15 minutes and I couldn't get the door to open. Finally, after I give up and you come back a second time and you're like, okay, come on. It's just not a good day, but I got to get in here. I opened the door. As soon as I walked in, there was a presence that I felt. I can't explain what it was. I can't explain what I felt. I just remember feeling very uneasy. Very like, what's going on here? Why am I feeling some kind of fear right now? Right? This energy.
You were out of alcohol.
Maybe. But I was at work.
There was no wine in the house.
No, I was going to go do a facial. I was going to have the wine there.
Okay. I'm sorry, go on.
So as I go in and I close the door behind me and I lock it, as I'm walking in through the hallway, I felt something walk right behind me. Manny, when I tell you that I took a shit, I took a shit. I went straight to the kitchen because it was kind of like, it was an efficiency, right? But it was like divided. It was, I guess, a garage, and they just split it up, right? So it had a little living room, a bedroom, and a kitchen. And then it had a huge yard. And I went and I checked in the kitchen, making sure that nobody was there. I check in the room, nobody's there. At one point when I'm changing my clothes, through my peripheral vision, in the mirror that was hanging on the door, I saw a figure of something. I took a shit. I went and I go back to the living room, and that's when I saw a complete person at that point. And it was a man dressed in combat. Young man. He must have been 17, 16 years old. Very young, American-looking man, standing in combat. And he just looked at me. And I remember that I turned around, and when I looked back, he was gone. I broke out in hives. I left my house so fast that day.
Really?
Yeah, I was so afraid to sleep in that place that night.
Because you could have said, do the dishes since you're here.
No, Manny, I don't have that kind of... Now, I might be like, all right, let's talk. Like, let's share some stories.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, this true story. I don't think I was imagining it. I don't, I don't
How don't you know you did? How are you sure you didn't freak him out? Scare him because you were scared.
He was probably like, why is she in my house? I live here, not you.
Right. Well.
Yeah, so true story. So anyway, that efficiency probably cost me at the time about $850.
$850.
And it's probably bigger than the apartment that I'm living in right now.
Look at that.
Awesome. It was so good.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what, in the time during the era when efficiencies, you can literally get an efficiency for between $400 to $1,000 a month, and you were making great money at work, and you were able to go out and have a great time, and
it's funny because you would think that working in television, which is seen by everybody else who doesn't work in television as this glamorous, very thing that is because everybody thinks, oh, you're a TV person, you must be making hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Well, some are.
Some are.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ones that you see on TV.
Network television.
Network.
Right? Well, you're talking about like anchors and stuff like that now, like on-air talent.
I'm talking on-air talent. I'm talking salespeople. I'm talking really the only people who make any money in television today. And yes, you're right. Local television.
Yeah, sales
are people who work in sales. That's it.
Sales management.
Well, and which is sales.
Right. That's what
everything
I'm saying.
Is sales.
Right.
Everything is sales. The only reason for television
I don't know that much
sales.
about production, but I know a lot. So now I'm on the radio side, right? Which is interesting because when we were doing television, it was kind of like radio sucks.
Radio was a fucking joke.
Why are you spending your money on that crap? It's like everything is low end. That the targeting that you're doing there is really not going to bring the business and the revenue that you're looking for your business. And it's so interesting right now how
it's
everything has...
It's funny to hear you say the talking points that television would give you against radio.
Yeah, now it's like, no, but I see it, right? Because now we go into broadcast television and selling broadcast TV, right? Like back then, like what we were saying, you had Hispanic television, you had Univision, and you had Telemundo. That's it. And you had to buy it. The McDonald's of the world had to connect to, in this market, Miami, you needed to connect to the Cuban, and back then it was really Cuban, right? Like that.
Well,
that's what was
here it was Cuban, but it was also
New York.
It was New York, which was also Caribbean, which we want to know Caribbean.
Right, yeah, the Puerto Ricans, the Dominican, right,
all those people.
No, 100%. But we're talking about Miami right now. Yeah. Let's keep it local because that's pretty much, I guess, where we met, and I can talk about this market. I've never worked in New York.
I'm a New Yorker, as you can see from the bread man over here. Okay.
But yeah, so, broadcast was the place to be. That's where you were reaching your audience. That's where you were seeing the ROI on all of the investments that you were putting out. It was coming back. The phones were ringing, You were super happy. Mm-hmm. And when you were doing that in radio, unless you were maybe doing it for a club or, maybe a restaurant, right? Like maybe that's where it would work. And it's shifted so much with the dynamic with social media and advertising. changing the way that it has, because who's watching broadcast television anymore unless you're watching an NFL game or the Super Bowl or
Murder, She Wrote.
O.J. Simpson.
Yeah, unless I think really, I don't know. I haven't done the studies of what broadcast television is now, but it's always been very woman-centric. Even surprisingly, even when we thought everybody was watching Spanish television, and even general market television, it turns out that even the woman in the house generally was the one
dictates what's on, right? Because the woman is home and she's cooking dinner and she's putting on the novella or whatever TV show she wants, Wheel of Fortune, whatever the heck was airing at the time.
Even my 90-year-old mother still watches Wheel of Fortune, and she doesn't even speak English.
Every 90-year-old is still watching Wheel of Fortune.
Exactly.
Is it still airing?
It is. And
no, but he died.
No, he did not.
He's not. He died.
Did not die. He's fine.
Oh.
You're thinking of Jeopardy. Oh. He's dead.
I know one of those fuckers, D.E.D., dead. All right? I can't keep up.
He's fine. He's retiring.
Well, damn.
Yeah.
That guy's been working forever.
And guess who's taking over for him?
Vanna White.
No, well... I believe Vanna White's daughter is going to be the new Vanna White.
Is she hot?
I mean, look at Vanna White,
That means nothing.
She's Hispanic.
Vanna White is Hispanic?
Well, half, her father is.
Oh, that means she's Hispanic. We've established this with puzzles already.
Right, everybody's Cuban.
But
she is for real.
Anybody that's rich is Cuban. That's what we've established here today.
Right. Arnold Schwarzenegger is a Cubano. Anyway, no, she is. She's half Hispanic.
I didn't know that. Yeah. Okay, you learn something new every day.
There you go.
So radio, think about it. So you're in your vehicle. Yeah, you can still kind of stream your music, right? Or you can put satellite radio if you want to pay for that service, which I don't.
No, neither do I.
I have a hard time doing that. I really do. There's so many free applications.
No, it's not. The problem that I have with what's the one Howard Stern's on?
Satellite, Sirius.
Sirius is the problem that they have right now. If they would fix that, they'd probably make so much more money.
Which is what?
Which is if I subscribe, good luck getting rid of that subscription because
to cancel it. You're saying it's like a mission,
right? It's like it's a mission to cancel. And that's some sort of nonsense hillbilly sort of thing that needs to stop.
Some clause or something in there?
I don't know because they make it's like
they make it impossible.
They make it impossible. You can just you can make a phone call or you could click and subscribe. But then when it's time to unsubscribe, you got to write emails or write a fucking letter.
I got to write a book
or put something on stone and send it. Smoke signals.
Really?
Yeah, they make it very difficult to unsubscribe. And that annoys people, and people know that now. And for example, me, I haven't subscribed because I know that.
Oh.
And I'm like, well, maybe,
You ain't taking me for no fool. Right, I ain't doing that.
Yeah. And I'm like, fuck you. If you're gonna make me subscribe, make it easy for me.
So you didn't hear the Howard Stern and Joe Biden interview that
yes,
just
I did.
Place?
I heard some of it. I heard a little piece of it.
I want to hear it. I haven't.
It's very good.
Is it good?
It's very good.
Did Joe do good? Did Joey do good?
I mean, he did as good as a 90-year-old can do. I mean, how old is he now? 88?
Like 175.
Is that 1,000 years old?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He did as good as he could.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I don't think he's a bad guy.
No.
I don't think he's a bad guy, I do think that there should be some kind of age limitation on the presidency. I do believe that. I don't care how smart you are.
And I think it's 70.
Yeah.
70.
Yeah.
And not just in the presidency, but also in Congress.
Yeah.
70.
And a certain lifespan also. After 55 years, you're out.
You're done. You're done.
Right.
You're done. I mean, look, listen, seriously, it should be 30 years. 30 years and that's it. Because you could technically get in there when you're 30.
Yeah.
So if you've been there from 30 to 60 and that's all you've been doing, you have no idea what it is like to live in the normal world anymore, and you should really get out.
No, I agree. I agree, 100%.
And this is not partisan. It's either side. Both sides, get out.
I agree. Listen, in the end, what you're looking for is whatever is best for this country and for the people that are living in this country legally.
Yeah,
I had to add that part.
Yeah, well, you have to.
Okay, so we're all over the place, but I do want to bring this up that I just saw this yesterday, and I thought that this was amazing. The marketing strategy and the genius behind it. Did you know this? Did you know that Starbucks, you know how they have the 3 sizes, whatever they are, tall, grande, most grande?
Yeah, small, medium, and large. Go ahead.
Okay. If you get the small and you fill it up to the top, okay, to the very top.
Sure.
And now you get that same coffee and you pour that into the medium.
It'll fit.
Exactly to the top. Oh. And then if you get that one, you pour it back to the small. And you get the small and you pour it to the big.
It'll fit.
Exactly to the top. Tell me that is not marketing genius. So you're paying
it's genius.
5 times as much for the same amount of coffee.
And by the time you get to the whatever they call the big one,
the Mas Grande,
whatever it is, I don't know. That's absolutely, you're paying 15 times more, which is fantastic.
Isn't that amazing? So you're paying like $30 for a cup of coffee at that point. I never liked Starbucks, and now I really hate them. But I can't.
No, I never liked Starbucks, and now that you told me that, I
now
really
you love
like
them.
them. Because,
now you love them. Like the genius behind it.
At the end of the deal, at the end of the day, I'm a capitalist, and that is fantastic.
Like the way that you're lying to the people, like to their face. No.
To their face, but it's caveat emptor. It is their responsibility to figure out. Figure it out.
So you're saying that
you're too stupid not to figure that out. Give me your money.
Did you know? Did you know?
Did I know?
Did you know about this?
Of course not. But do I shop at Starbucks?
Me neither do I.
I do not. No.
Neither do I. I refuse to pay that amount of money when I can go to La Carreta.
I'll go or Dunkin'.
Dunkin'. I like Dunkin'. I could do Dunkin'.
I
like
Boston. What I do? I make my own fucking coffee.
And that's the best kind of coffee. The one that you make at home. That's my kind of coffee.
Why do you have to have? First of all, why do you have to coffee throughout the entire fucking day? I'm sorry. I have coffee in the morning. And that's it.
Because you're not normal. I have coffee throughout the whole day.
I mean, that's what cocaine is for. What's the matter with
Manny, we're living in different times. It's not as easily accessible anymore.
Actually, I've heard now that it's even I am surprised. I can't even understand that.
Get it with a little kick of fentanyl.
A little fentanyl. Oh, that'll.
All right, so we digress.
Yes, we do. Sorry.
Broadcast radio. How
television.
Radio. We were talking about how radio was so ineffective back in the day, and how now the whole dynamic with social media, it's shifted so much that the only time that you're really listening to broadcast radio, which is the reality of it, right? It's in your vehicle because you do put it on.
Well, that's the only time you really listen to radio is in your car.
Right.
Yeah. And South Florida especially.
I mean, I listen to it at my home too.
Do you?
I do.
What are you, 100? What do you have?
La Cubanísima.
Hold on.
Radio Mambi.
Really?
WQA.
Hold on. Let's see how our boys are doing in France. Let's find out. I mean, what is it, 1939? Relax. What is it? I mean, come on.
I actually do. I have the little...
What is it, tubes? Do you need some tubes? I can replace them. Listen to the radio at home.
So everything's shifted. The dynamic of the way that we view television and listen to the news and view sports games, everything's just shifted. And I think that we really are, because I think that this was the purpose of this conversation, is that we really were able to experience when broadcast television was broadcast television, where it started to grow, where we really saw the potential, the revenue, the money, the wining and dining, right?
It was the peak. We got in at the peak.
That's what I'm saying.
Really.
So we were able to really experience when it's like, you want the payola, right?
All the stuff.
Oh, you want which I'm sure it still happens, however they play it out right now. I don't understand how that works, but I remember it back then.
We have people getting their entire apartments furnished.
Furnished, paid for. Their mortgages were paid for. Their kids' college tuitions were paid for.
Paper bags full of cash. I've heard stories.
Yeah.
I never experienced any of that, but I heard stories from people that we know that we worked for.
So that doesn't exist anymore, right?
No. It's what made it fun.
Right.
Because there were so many. I mean, yes, we were making for what at the time was a good salary. It wasn't a crazy amount of money. We weren't getting generational wealth out of this thing, but we were making good money. We were making $60,000, $70,000, $80,000, $100,000 back in the 80s and 90s, which was a lot of money. And there were parties. There were, you'd get out of work, you'd go to parties. Right. Work was a party. You couldn't wait to get to work. It was one of those things where I could not wait. To get to the station in the morning. I
remember. Well, you remember because you were working there too, without saying no names. Mm-hmm. But the owner of a certain a certain network that we worked at. My God, this is like the Tony Montana days, right?
Oh, it's fantastic.
He just had like a guy walking behind him with a tray filled with cocaine, pills, and his scotch, and the lighter to light his cigarettes because he was a chain smoker.
I never saw that. I heard about it. I never actually saw it. Yeah.
And
but in that same place, yes, we know offices that we could go to where it was a party in the office and it was drinks and it was there was all this stuff going on.
And you do that now and you get fired.
Oh, you get fired. You don't get fired. You get prosecuted, which is worse.
Right.
Right. Half of the stuff that we used to do for fun just to let off steam here's the other thing. The other thing is that everybody says, "Oh, you did all these things," as if we didn't work.
No. We were generating.
We were working from the moment we woke up till 2.
Yeah, we were generating revenue. No, definitely. And it was more the men though. You guys had fun. Like I wanted to be one of the boys.
Yes,
I did. I always wanted to be one of the boys, and I was like, oh, I can't hang out with them because it's not going to look right,
Well, yeah, because it was, and it wouldn't look right on us either.
Yeah.
That was the problem.
Yeah,
because
I would sneak in every now and again though. I would be like, hey.
well, by the time the 90s had come around, already it was getting a little woke.
Yeah.
And already there was, you could not,
like, why? Why do they have to get so involved and ruin everything all the fun?
To be fair, there are a bunch of guys who can't just party with girls, and they don't have the respect for the girls, right?
Well, but that's where the girl has to put her foot down and be like, do that again, and I'm going to run my car over
something.
you.
Right,
yeah,
right. And that's why you guys weren't there.
Well, all I know is that you boys had all the fun.
We did. It was true. It was true. But there were no girls involved.
Yeah.
Unless
you were gay. Remember? Because
unless you were gay. If you were gay, but those guys were not in our group either.
Right.
But that was great because we and as guys, we were like, yeah, you guys go do whatever.
Okay, so where's this fun and money at now? Okay, so it's not
real estate. It's in real estate.
No bullshit. Everybody's drowning in real estate right now. What are you talking about?
Oh no, well, it was up until I've heard now that real estate's over.
Right. I mean, I'm sure that it'll come back.
Well,
something
for the
will
last
happen
20
again.
years, it's been in real estate. I don't know what's happening now. Where is it now?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe in
crypto. Crypto.
Maybe in crypto.
That's where the money's
maybe
at.
In crypto.
Digital coin, baby. That's how you do it now.
Yeah, maybe that's it. I don't know. Maybe it's in. I don't know. I don't know where it is. Maybe it's in boating and in whatever.
How?
I don't know. There's no
Our
industry.
idea. We need to strategize and we need to figure out what's plan B. Well, because you're going to retire.
Yeah,
but you're still going to want to do. No, you're still going to want to do something.
I'm going to want to work.
Your brain's going to need to do something.
I just don't want to work at stuff that I don't want to work at.
Right. I get it.
You say work is terrible. It's so terrible they need to pay you to do it. Right.
Yeah.
So I want to be able to work at something that I don't want to work at.
Yeah. Well, why don't you do this podcast with me?
Maybe,
this might be one of the better episodes that I've ever done because we're talking so much shit right now. It actually might get some views.
It might get a view or two. Yeah.
We
haven't said enough racist stuff though.
I know.
We have to be more racist and controversial.
Right. So that I can get canceled at that point.
Right. Or hired. I don't know. One of these days.
Or fired.
Or fired.
What? Something's gonna happen.
Right.
Something dramatic is gonna happen for sure.
Yeah.
All right. So this was fun. So how do we end this? Give me some controversial shit.
Controversial stuff?
Yeah. Like what? Like tell me something. I don't know. Like.
I don't know. Television's going to be over in 10 years. I don't know.
You give it that long?
No, I actually think here's something controversial. Here's a hot take. A hot take.
Okay.
Everybody's going to rebel because everything online is so at this point is so full of advertising. YouTube is making it almost impossible to watch it.
To enjoy it. And that's really what I watch the most. That's
right.
Probably one of the, I don't know if it's because I'm just more used to it or because
right.
it's free
right.
and I'm cheap and I don't want to pay to not have, I want to see who's advertising
right.
also because of what I do for a living, right?
right.
But you're right. Like it's to a point that you're watching it. I'm all
right.
into a podcast. The Sean Ryan podcast. Are you watching that shit?
No, I don't do that.
Oh my God, watch it. You're going to love it. It's about America. It's former SEALs and, guys that have really fought for our country.
Okay.
And they're talking real stories about what's really happening and how the government is completely lying to us. And let me tell you that I am hooked. They're 3, 4, 5, 6 hour podcasts at a time. I'll fall asleep watching it. But the amount of commercials that are in there,
it's impossible to watch.
Right? Yeah. Like they lose you. It's too much, right?
Right
so that's exactly what's happening. Which is the same shit that happened in radio, right?
Right. Well, that's what ruined radio is the fact that you can't listen to more than 10 minutes or 5 minutes really of content, and then
it's
all of a sudden
20. It's actually 20
minutes.
Well,
yeah, it's 20
and
minutes.
And then it's like an hour of commercials.
And an hour of commercials, right? And then you're like, but it's one of those things where, and for example,
that's what people are paying for, and I think that's where the money's going to come in.
Well,
that's going to be the next form of
right, or
wealth.
Or local television will figure out that baseball's been abandoned. Can you watch a Marlins game here in Miami?
No,
you can't. Can you? No. Well, I think the first local TV station that says, you know what,
I'm going to pick up the rights.
We're going to pick up the rights,
yeah.
And we're going to watch.
It's only digital now. Yeah.
We're going to watch some baseball.
But I think that the way that the next form of streaming or how they're going to start monetizing these big companies that are merging together, right? The monopolies that continue to happen with capitalism. Like we can't get rid of it. It is what it is at this point, but it is taking out the little man, right? Or even the middleman at this point. It really is affecting us as well.
It is.
What they're going to try to do is, for example, okay, you want to listen to these radio stations for this company for $20 a month. You can just tune in and you can listen to.
I don't want to do anything for $20 a month because
But you'd be surprised how many people will pay to avoid hearing the commercials that are interrupting their music and their watching views. That's what I'm saying.
Except YouTube doesn't want $20 a month; they want $90 a month.
60. It's 60.
Well,
because I looked into it.
Okay, 60.
And I refuse to pay $60 a month because for that I go back to Comcast.
Well, not that you can refuse to pay it because you can't afford it.
No, I can afford it.
You can?
I can afford it, motherfucker. I can.
You can afford $60 a month?
Yeah.
Okay.
How much?
$60 a month?
60, yeah.
On top of everything else?
I could do it. I could do it.
You'll sacrifice?
My baby won't eat, but that's
she won't eat, but that's okay.
It's all right.
I mean, but that broadcast television, guess what? I can pay $60 for an antenna and have it for free. Because at my house... At my house,
the service is good because the antenna in my house is terrible.
I have not had paid television since 2005.
Damn, you cheap.
I'm a cheap.
You cheap.
I'm cheap. Yep. But
no, I did have it here, and I was paying like $180 for a service that I didn't use.
It's ridiculous,
and that's why I stopped. That's why I canceled it, and I watch YouTube now. So
just for free.
And TikTok. I get my news from TikTok.
That's a shame. Well, you know why? Because local television stations are not giving us real news. Because I say this all the time: car crashes, shootings, and murders, and whatever else is not news. Because it doesn't affect us, and there's no way we can stop a car crash in the future. What really would help us if you're a local news station is if you would cover what's going on in all the local governments and what the laws are doing and what's happening at the state level and what's happening with insurance. What are they all doing? Do we hear any of that from our local?
But you know why they don't do that? First of all, they're probably in on it. And secondly, if you did try to do something independently where you can help the community, you would get canceled. They would block you one way or another.
Who would? There's a broadcast station. You do whatever you want.
What are you talking about? You start putting misinformation out on Instagram, Facebook, they're gonna all of a sudden cancel your account.
We're not talking about Instagram, Facebook.
So where would you do it? YouTube? Where else?
No, you do it on broadcast television.
Yeah, but they're not going to do that because we go back to if right now the owner of a television station has affiliation with a local government.
There's your problem.
Yeah.
There's your problem.
But that's not going to stop. You're not going to change that.
But then nobody watches it because everybody knows.
So then it's got to come.
If I want to see car crashes, I'll go on YouTube and I'll watch the best car crashes.
So then it has to come from an independent, creative
group podcast situation.
Where you don't get canceled at that point if you don't get too raw. Because look how they even tried to cancel Joe Rogan.
How'd they cancel him?
I forgot exactly what it was that he said.
Did he say something to upset somebody?
Yeah, it probably had to do with the Jews or the blacks, What pisses everybody off? I don't know.
No, Jews and blacks. Are you kidding? Trans.
Or trans. We can't say anything. It's like, what happened to just having the freedom of speech and just talk? I get it. You can get offended by what somebody says, but you don't get canceled for that,
Well, if someone gets offended by something you said, they should refute what you said and say it's not true.
Yeah.
If you said something that wasn't true,
I don't remember. Google it. Can you check on your phone?
Sure. Why did Joe Rogan get canceled?
Why did Joe Rogan get canceled? Now I'm curious. What was it for?
Oh, he probably got canceled for so many things.
No, but
vaccines.
he actually. Oh, maybe it was for the vaccines. I think that it may have been for something that he said with that whole that you couldn't say shit about the vaccines, that they were fake, that it's they're lying, that Fauci is It might have been I take back everything I said about the Jews and the blacks a second ago. I didn't mean that. No, but listen, I didn't mean it. It really is true. It's it's just like this defense mechanism that we all have all of a sudden when you say anything, and we need to learn how to not be so sensitive.
Yeah. It doesn't say anything.
You're not looking.
I put in Joe Rogan canceled. And your stupid Wi-Fi here doesn't do anything.
I told you that the
Wi-Fi... He's too big to cancel. The New York Times says he's too big to cancel.
He came back, obviously. And I remember that he even had to issue an apology. But for what it was for, it may have been for the vaccine. Yeah, I think it was for the vaccine.
It was probably for the vaccine.
Yeah, because, it may have been for that. I think that's what it was for. It had something to do with COVID, for sure.
Well, obviously, because he was one of the targets during COVID.
Yeah. But that's when he exploded, right? Like COVID is what really put him on the map. I think that the guy's awesome.
Not really. He had the contract before, and he just got the new contract. Did you see the new contract?
More.
250 million or some ridiculous number like that.
Just give me a little bit, Joe. Just a little bit. I'll help you. I'll get the Miami market behind you.
I think they're already behind him pretty solidly.
I love him. I really do. I love everything. I love how he's so diverse, and he just taps into anything, and he's not afraid of, and he really is very articulate and intelligent and knowledgeable and educated. He's so cute.
He's a comedian.
I love him.
He's a comedian with an opinion.
And he's not even if you really listen to him on the show, he's not funny because he's not. I guess he's just charismatic, right? That's more of his thing.
He's just letting everybody say whatever it is they want to say.
Yeah, right. Yes, I think that's all he's doing is letting you talk.
Letting you talk.
Did you see the Cat Williams one that he just recently did?
No, but I saw the Cat Williams on.
What's his name?
Shannon Sharp.
Yeah.
I saw that one.
Nobody knows.
Ain't nobody know.
Ain't nobody know what nobody's talking about.
Yeah. He talked a lot of nonsense, but he talked a lot of things that everybody.
Well, that's
knows
what happens
true.
when you smoke that much weed.
Yeah. He talked a lot of nonsense, but a lot of it was like, ooh, he ain't kidding on this one.
Yeah, like the guy is calling it out, and he's not afraid to do it.
But it's easy for us to sit here and not be part of that community and not know what's going on. And I'm not saying because, and when I say that community, I don't mean blacks. I mean the celebrity community.
Right. That's how I interpreted it when you said that as well.
Right.
It's that whole kind of like Hollywood.
Just want to make sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't get.
You have to make sure these days. No, but I mean,
right.
Because
isn't that sad that you had to specify that?
That's
I understood exactly what you were saying.
You have to write an entire fucking whole thing.
Yeah, that's not what I meant.
This is not what I meant. I didn't mean this, and I mean this, and I mean that, and I mean this group, that group. I mean that community, as in celebrities.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I mean, and we've been part of that community for quite some time. We've seen some inside stuff that is shit fucking crazy.
Oh yeah.
But the funny thing is that batshit crazy stuff that we've seen is in any crazier than anything that anybody who works in construction or works in any other industry.
It's just we're in the front line of we're in the front line of everybody viewing everything that we're doing.
Right. So anyway, so I mean I don't know what we're gonna do next time, but this,
well, the idea today was there was just like a lot of hiccups today before we started, so we had a more, I don't know if entertaining would be the word, because I think that this is pretty damn entertaining what we did today.
It was entertaining for us anyway.
At least I had a great time.
We only have to entertain ourselves.
And this is what I needed today. I was really stressed out today with work. I got here. You saw how I was. I was like, I was going to poke your eyes out when you...
I was like, all right, let me just go home and see. We'll try this again next week.
But this was fun. This is definitely, this is fun for me. And I'm glad. And I thank you for joining me. And I do want to do the one that... we were talking about.
Right. We'll keep that under wraps for now.
We'll position it. Maybe I can even do it in your backyard. I'll take kind of like everything over there. I think that'll be like a nice setup, and we can do it over there to get a different background and just keep testing all the equipment out and stuff like that. So I do appreciate your help with everything, Manny, and it's been fun knowing you for so many years and how we've remained friends. I can't say that with everybody that I've met in the business. So the few that I've kept within my inner circle, you're family to me at this point. And I love you very much. And
same.
We'll do this again. We're definitely going to do this again.
All right, I'm down.
All right.
Okay.
So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you found this entertaining. I hope you picked up something from it. If anything, maybe laughing, which is what I needed today. That's for certain. And if you found anything interesting from it and you want to like and subscribe to the show, just to keep the count going up and see what direction we head in. We're still trying to figure this out. It would be greatly appreciated. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I look forward to our next episode. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye. And my OnlyFans, don't forget about that.
I'm gonna put in the link, Manny's OnlyFans, so you guys can tune into his OnlyFans. You're such a moron. All right, guys. Bye.
Bye.